Okay, guys, it's 3:30 now. That's what I'm having. Sausage, potatoes, mixed veggies. I had vindaloo curry paste. It's my second plate. I did an awesome recording. Well, I think it's awesome, but to my knowledge, it hasn't uploaded because my phone got interrupted with a call because I had forgotten until about 5 to 3 that I had a um, phone call meeting on here about that cybersecurity, and they can renew it for another year, but it's only 4,000 instead of 7,000. And okay, I'll be honest, they put me on high support this time, meaning that they used to I don't know what the difference is. We'll soon see, but they used to call me once a week to see how my studies were going and if I booked an exam. So that was low support, but then they said they'll give me a call once a week, but I'll be on high support, so I wonder what that is. And it's 80%. Wow, didn't ask that in this chat, but in the previous recordings they told me it was 80%, not 90%, so I wasn't far off. And they reckon once you get the first couple down past, then the rest come a lot easier. It's what I've experienced with people. So I'm going to get on to this recording now because I already done a recording and I thought I was going well. Another sign is when you have a bit of fear to do a recording. I've noticed that usually when you got a bit of fear, it's something that you should say, but there's other things too, like natural ability. Okay, let's get straight to it. Demar's coaching. I like him. So, maybe when I was a teenager, I'm going to do some repeating of what I said in the previous recording. So if it has gone up and I'm not aware of it, because I went back on TikTok after the phone call had ended, and I didn't see a post. Oh no, the phone call was still going, but I pushed profile. Just pushed TikTok and appeared, pushed profile, and the recording wasn't up. So it may have gone up since then because I hadn't swiped TikTok off the. But Demar's coaching. I like him. So here's the thing: there's another channel that I like. I really like Terry Dog Jr., as I said a few times. Now, they mentioned this guy called, what was his name again? Elliot Rodgers. And, that guy had autism, that guy had, but my theory is those who have autism or ADHD or something like that, and they're undiagnosed, they don't know about it, they're probably just going to end up resembling narcissists or borderlines because there was no knowledge about it growing up. And that's what gets me thinking about my parents, because I'd bump into people who sound similar to my auntie or my aunties, some of my aunties, just depending. Okay, in Māoritanga, you got your aunties as in like your brother or your mother's, your parents' sisters, like your father's sister or your mother's sister, but Māoritanga comes through the Māori mother's side, but Scottish culture is very similar to Māori anyway. Because I would have my Nana. So I had my mum and I have her cousins, but so there was a there was a distance, but we'd still call them first cousins. Like if it was my Nana's sister's cousins or Nana's brothers. So if it was my Nana's sisters or my Nana's brothers or uncles, grandfather's brother or sister, and it was their kids. We'd call their grandchildren, our first cousins. So yeah. But on my father's side, same thing. So when I say auntie, I mean someone that's like if their parents are a sister or brother or a cousin of one of my grandparents, one of my 4 grandparents, then I call them auntie. Unless they're really close age and second cousin. But anyways, I've had people who look like some of my aunties show up in my work in the past, and they'll be like, look, we're saying it with this aggressive face, like, I'm acting now, so I go, and they'll be looking at me like this, and that. They'll be like, you're still the same person as you were when you were a kid, and I didn't even know who they were, but they look like my aunties, or one of my auntie, or people that look like my uncle. But some of them, they look worried. Some of them actually do care. I can tell. And I'm very hesitant to going back to my parents, because with all the knowledge that we have now I've gained, about autism and ADHD, I thoroughly believe that that a lot of autistic people or ADHD people, or and they don't know anything about it, and then they go through all the stuff we go through. I think a lot of them can actually turn out to be narcissists, and then once they come across the autism spectrum disorder thing, because it's a defense mechanism, and then they come across the autism spectrum disorder, or they come across the ADHD, because these are neurological differences, right? So I would be myself, thorough 100% myself when I was doing that around my friends, when I was closest friends when I was a kid. They'd say that I was acting like someone in my early 20s, or I was acting like an adult when I was a teenager. People used to tell me that I was wise beyond my years, because my interests and what I was talking about. But now it's a very common thing for people to say that I have the mentality of a 23-year-old or a 22-year-old, even though I'm 36. I turned 37 in March. Now, it's just some background. With the Tamara's coaching, he brought up the Elliot Rodgers, and obviously when I was in my early 20s, and I struggled with black and white thinking, but I wouldn't do anything because I know that same person would, other times I would really like them, and blah blah blah. But that's I've gone past the whole black and white thinking thing, because you listen for another 10 minutes, or you watch another couple of recordings about something else they say, and then you realize that came from the data bank. Maybe they said 1 or 2 sentences, and that was it. That reminded you of people who ostracized you and done things like that in the past, because there's pros and cons to everything. With autism, we have pattern recognition. Now, the pros to that is we spot patterns, and it's good for cybersecurity, it's good for other things. But also, it spots patterns in people's behavior, and then it links it unconsciously, it links it with someone that said or done the same thing, even if it was in a different context or in the same context or whatever. And then your nervous system kicks in. Start thinking, I don't like this person anymore. But then you realize that's what it is, and then you listen longer and you realize that your data bank had associated them with these people who've done these things in the past when they're actually nothing alike. But you had to spend time with them to figure that out.